What's going on YouTube? So the Nissan Murano has long been a staple of the mid-size two-row crossover segment, and it's been one of the most popular options out there. It's also known for its style, which is something seeing an enhancement for 2022 with the addition of a new Midnight Edition package. So with that being said, is the Murano still a good choice in a competitive segment? Let's go ahead and find out. So like I was saying, the staple of the Murano has long been its design. It has a very aggressive and futuristic design that I think has aged pretty well because it's still very fashionable here with the 2022 model. So up here in the front, you're going to notice that signature V-motion grille with the black accents that run around it. Like I was saying earlier though, that new Midnight Edition package is available. We'll attach a picture of that into the video, but basically, you're just going to be looking at additional black accents as well as a special black alloy to give it an even sportier and more interesting design. Then of course, as we come over to the headlights, these are also very distinct looking. Nissan will give you the full LED headlights on every single trim level, so that's nice to see, including the daytime running light, which has that cool boomerang shape, and then you have the LED turn signal underneath of it. And then in addition to that, the top SL and Platinum trim levels will come with the LED fog lamps. Next up, let's go ahead and talk about the wheel options. So your S and your SV trim levels will come standard with an 18-inch alloy. When you get up to the SL trim level, which is what we have today, you get these 20-inch contrast alloys, which I think are the best looking of the bunch, even better than the 20-inch dark finished alloys that you get on the Platinum trim level. And then as we come up to the mirrors, you will notice standard heating as well as standard blind spot monitoring.
Now the Murano is really a good-looking vehicle still, and you can tell that a lot here at the side because this is one of the most radically designed elements of the Murano when it first came out. As you can see, it does still continue to have that floating roof design that we've seen on a lot more products since the Murano had it back in 2015. And in terms of length, it comes in at 193 inches. Now, coming around to the rear design, nothing changes for 2022. That's honestly probably a good thing though, because this is still a very good looking product. So up here in the middle, we have our Nissan branding, and then off to the side, we are gonna have some very premium LED taillights. As you can see, it does integrate in nicely with the body, and it is going to be full LED, every single element, including the turn signal and reverse light. Then if we drop down to the lower area, you will notice that we do have dual trapezoidal exhaust outlets. We're gonna have a 1,500 pound tow rating on every Murano. Now I'm happy to say that the Murano does take safety very seriously because they are throwing in every single system standard on every single Murano. So you will have your forward emergency braking and pedestrian detection, low speed rear and front auto braking. You also have lane keeping assist, auto high beam headlamps, and adaptive cruise control. We truly appreciate you making it this far in our review of this Murano. So if you haven't subscribed already, we would really appreciate if you did that. Now let's go ahead and check out the inside before we take it out in a spin.
Now heading up to the 2022 Murano, you will continue to find the standard intelligent entry system, just like pretty much every Nissan product. And in addition to that, you will also find remote start on the top of the key fob for all but the base model. Now to unlock the vehicle and get inside, just press the silver button. And taking a look inside of the cabin, of course you're not going to notice any substantial design changes as you would expect. But I'll go ahead and describe your different interior color and material choices. This is actually one of the areas where there is going to be a 2022 change. So standard on the S will be a cloth seat. However, new this year, standard on the SV is a leatherette material replacing the previous cloth. Then if you go up to the SL like what we have today, that gets you real leather. And then if you go all the way to the top end Platinum, that's going to get you semi-aniline leather with a special quilted design. If you choose that top end model, you're going to have the choice between cashmere, graphite, or mocha color options. Now turning over here to your door trim, it is very nicely finished. We have high quality leatherette material that goes all across the door trim with the nice stitching detail. It's going to be padded along the top. You have a substantial section of this kind of silvery faux wood. I think this looks pretty nice. Over here on the side, we have 2-person memory seating for the SL and the Platinum trims. And as far as the windows, they're going to be one-touch auto up and down for the driver and the passenger. Coming down here to your seats, you got a 10-way power adjusting seat with 2-way lumbar support. That's going to be on all but the base model. And then, like I was mentioning, this is real leather. It's not the top-end semi-inland leather like in the Platinum, but it's still very nice. Good softness when you're riding in it. Of course, Nissans are known for having those zero-gravity seats, so these are very comfortable. Good perforation, and I like the color contrast accenting over there. So even though the Murano is not the newest product on the block, it has always had a very nice and high quality cabin that does carry on for 2022. So across our gauge cluster, this is going to be finished in leatherette with the nice stitching detail. All the rest of the upper dash is going to be a hard touch plastic. Dropping down to this part, all of this is going to be padded, and you'll notice that silver wood trim that runs from the door trim all around the cabin. Through the middle, you're going to have the piano black accents, more of that silver wood down here in the middle, and then a really nice patch of leather material, nicely padded for your knee to rest against with the stitching detail. Everything in here does fit together very well and feels solid. Now to start up, put your foot on the brake and press the standard button. So when it comes to your gauge cluster, you do have the standard large 7-inch multifunction display in between your 2 analog gauges. And of course, just like with other Nissan products, you can cycle between a wide variety of information using the steering wheel control. And speaking of the steering wheel, as we come back to that, you are going to find a pretty nice looking steering wheel. It is going to be leather wrapped on the vast majority of the models, as in all but the base S model. And if you choose the top-end Platinum, you're actually going to get a higher quality leather. Speaking of features that you get with the Platinum, all the steering wheels are going to be manual tilt and telescoping except for that Platinum, which will be a power adjusting wheel. And then both the SL and the Platinum will come with steering wheel heating. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about interior storage. So as I turn over here to the center console, you're going to notice a really nicely sized bin. This is super deep. It goes down like at least a foot. As you can see when I stick in our pretty thick stack of coupons here. Look how far that drops down. Plenty of space, plus there's another storage area up there if you want something a little closer to the surface. We've got 2 cup holders, and then you've got another storage bin right up here for your phone to set close to the 12-volt outlet, or your 2 USB ports, one of which is a USB Type-C. Let's go ahead and take a look at the shifter next. As you can see, kind of got a piano black finish on the top of this. You can pull back for drive. You can bump over here to the left if you want to shift through some simulated gear changes, but there are no paddles on the steering wheel. And then when we head into reverse, you will find Nissan's signature around view monitor. This is included on both the SL and the Platinum trim levels. I believe you can also option it on to the SV trim, depending on what type of package you get. But as you can see, you got both your traditional view as well as your 360 view, and then you have moving object detection. There's not an electronic parking brake. It is the more classic style foot activated over here on the left hand side of the steering wheel. Now back behind the shifter, we have our heated and ventilated seat controls. So you're going to have standard heated seats, new for 2022 on the SV trim level. So that's a nice addition to the lineup. And then if you want seat ventilation, you're going to have to go to the top end Platinum trim level. Rising on up the dashboard, we have our dual zone automatic climate control set up. This is a standard feature on all of the trim levels. Nice easy adjustment knobs over here on both sides. These look like they're touch capacitive, but they're actually physical controls here, so that's nice and easy to use. And then in addition to that, you'll notice you have infotainment as well as audio controls down along the sides of the display. So speaking of that, so S and SV are going to have 6-speaker sound systems. SL and Platinum are going to have the 11-speaker Bose premium audio system, and we'll go ahead and give that a sample right now. Yeah, so overall, this is an excellent sounding sound system. Really fills up the cabin nicely, and I'm especially impressed by the amount of bass that this has. Okay, so we'll go ahead and take a look at the infotainment system. This is, basically just your Nissan Connect system. No surprises here. We're looking at an 8-inch display. And in the home screen here, you're just going to notice some widgets, which you can rearrange any way you want them to, and then you get some shortcut buttons along the side or along the bottom, as in addition to the physical ones you have along the side. There is a built-in navigation system that's going to be included on the SL and the Platinum trim levels, and then you do have standard Android Auto and Apple CarPlay abilities. You also notice above the display you have a CD player, so you don't see that all that often anymore. As we come on up here, surprisingly, you're going to find the auto-dimming mirror with HomeLink universal remotes on all but the very base model. That's a cool touch. And then as we come up here, I will open up our panoramic sunroof. This is standard on just the Platinum trim level. However, you can get it as an option on both this SL as well as the SV.
All right, so the Murano has always had a really nice rear area, and that is, of course, going to continue for 2022 since they haven't really changed much for this Murano. Now, we'll talk about the space first. We're looking at 39 inches of legroom, 40 inches of headroom, which does place it a touch smaller than stuff like the Santa Fe, the Ford Edge. But overall, as you can see, you're not going to have any space issues. So we have I would say probably 7 or so inches of legroom behind my knees in the seat back, adjusted to Drew's position, and then I can also slide my feet up under the seat, so it's certainly very comfortable. And as you can see with this side of the seats, they do also recline to give you extra comfort. Now, as far as the features, since we do have a higher end model, we are going to have quite a few. So up top we have this little storage area. I'm not really sure what you would put in this. Maybe that's a good spot for like peppermints or something. And then if we drop down, we do have a charging USB port, a USB Type-C. And then off to the side of that, you're also going to notice that we have 2-stage heated rear seats. That's going to be on the SL and Platinum trims. And then if we drop further below that, we have vents. That's going to be standard equipment. And then if we fold down the center armrest, you will find more cup holders in here, as well as another little storage slot. Now, of course, the cargo area is another important part about owning any SUV, so let's go ahead and check it out in the Murano. Now, you will have a power hands-free lift gate if you go for the SL or Platinum trims, so just wave your foot under the bumper to open up. As you can see, it does work quite well, although I will say this tailgate is pretty slow, so if you're in a hurry, you might get wet. Now, as far as the space itself back here, we have 32 cubic feet behind the second row seats. That expands to 67 cubic feet as a maximum. That is generally right on par with the segment. It's larger than the Blazer, however, it is smaller than the Hyundai Santa Fe and Ford Edge, but not by a ton. So I think you're gonna have plenty of space for you and your belongings back here. And then as far as the features that Nissan has thrown in, we do have nice carpeting along the floor. If we lift it up, there is a spare tire. And then off to the right side, we have a 12-volt power outlet, and we're also going to have our levers to fold the seats. 60-40 split. It is also worth noting, if you go for that fully loaded Platinum model, you will have the power return for the second row folding. Now, the passenger seat is 4-way power adjusting, and if we pop open the glove box, we do have a good-sized glove box in here. Certainly could fit our coupons in, which I assume here they are in the center console. I was looking for them. I was worried we lost them. And they fit right here perfectly fine, so you don't have to worry about that. And then up top, we have a sun visor, we have a lighting as well as a mirror, and we can also detach the visor as well as extend it.
there's our acceleration pretty quickly up to 60 miles per hour. So with the Murano, you're going to continue to have Nissan's VQ V6 engine, 3.5 liters. That's going to be making 260 horsepower, 240 pound-feet of torque. So it's a pretty powerful engine. A lot of the competition is coming standard with 4 cylinders. So you do have the 6-cylinder standard with the Murano, and the VQs always have that nice raspy sound, which I appreciate.
Yeah, I really appreciate it at startup for sure. You hear it, it's just like a nice growl, almost like a sports car, which is kind of funny out of an SUV like this. Now, I do also want to just go ahead and kick it off by talking about the ride quality for the Murano. I think this is honestly one of the strongest suits for this vehicle, is just how comfortable it is and how luxurious it feels driving down the road. You know, it really, and I mean, by no exaggeration, I think these are some of the most comfortable seats I've ever sat my butt in, regardless of any price point.
Yeah.
Their zero-gravity seats are fantastic, and they're even better in this Murano. And just overall, it's very comfortable. We will also get a sound level reading once we get up to 55 miles per hour, but it seems like a very luxurious experience when you get behind the wheel. Looks like we're sitting at 61 decibels on the noise reading. I will say that today it is very windy outside, so that's definitely playing a role. Most of what I'm hearing is wind noise. I don't really hear any road noise, so if you were on a calm day, I think that rating would be dropped quite a bit.
As you may have noticed earlier, we do have a continuously variable transmission. However, it does have the shift simulation. So as you aggressively accelerate, it is going to go through some stepped gear changes just to give you that more natural feel, and I think it does a pretty good job with that.
Yeah. Now, as far as your fuel economy is concerned, you're going to be looking at 20, 28, 23 combined. That's going to be for both front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. And let's go ahead and talk about our slam dunk and airball today. So as far as our slam dunk, it's going to be comfort. There are a few different things that I think we could have, done here, but I think the comfort is really the nicest element about this Murano. Is just so nice to drive. It is also very stylish, but I think that's probably my favorite thing about it, is how comfortable it is.
And then on the airball side of things, that's just going to be a few dated elements inside of this cabin. Of course, if you've been in like the newest Nissan Rogue, you'll notice there's some more advanced technology pieces and things that are in that model that have yet to make its way to the Murano. So things that I might appreciate, like a digital gauge cluster or something like that.
All right, and let's go ahead and talk about your pricing for the Murano. That is a pretty attractive element. So it's going to start at $32,910 for 2022 for the base S model. Then if you go all the way up to the Platinum all-wheel drive, that's going to start at $46,160. Now this one is a nicely equipped SL trim level, so it's not the fully loaded model, but we do also have all-wheel drive as well as a few options on it. We're coming in at $45,655 as tested with the $1,175 destination charge.
So overall, there's still really a lot to like about this 2022 Nissan Murano, particularly when you're talking about the comfort, the level of equipment that you get even on the lower trim levels, really make it still a worthwhile thing to check out.
Well guys, you've made it to the end of our in-depth review of the 2022 Nissan Murano SL. If you enjoyed watching, we would really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. And also I think you'll appreciate it too, because you'll get notified on our most recent content. And we're going to have a lot of content coming up in the next year, so please go ahead and do that. And we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.